Okay, so you should have Ubuntu running on the BeagleBone, should be powered up, connected to your network via the Ethernet connection, and pretty much all set up and ready to go. So at this point we need to actually find the IP address of the BeagleBone on the network. So the best thing to do is to check and make sure that your computer is on the same network as the controller. Open up a web browser and then go to your router's web page. It's usually something like 192.168.0.1 or .1.1 or .2.1. So my router happens to be a Netgear. Your router may be different, but basically what we're looking for is devices attached to the network. Netgear just has a link here that says attached devices. So I'll click on that and that'll show me all the devices on the network. Your BeagleBone is going to show up as an ARM device because it uses an ARM core processor. So you should look through your list and you should see a device that says ARM here. You can also match the MAC address here printed on the BeagleBone if you've got multiple BeagleBones for some reason. But you know, for this setup we should probably only have one connected, so it shows up as ARM and I can see its IP address is 192.168.2.24. so at that point we're going to open the terminal. If you're using Windows, open PuTTY and create an SSH connection using that. I'm using the built-in terminal for Mac. If you're on Linux, use the built-in terminal there to create a new remote connection. So I'll open up the terminal here, close that, go to shell, new remote connection, and I'm going to select SSH, and I'll select the device from the list here. I may actually get an error here that I have to correct, but we'll see. Oh, came right up. So it should come up and ask you for a password. The default, you'll see here I had Ubuntu entered as a username. If you log in and you don't specify anything there, it'll just ask you for a username over here in the terminal, and you'll enter Ubuntu as the default username, and for the password it's TEMPPWD and hit enter, and we'll see that we're all logged in here. So first thing we need to do on the BeagleBone is we need to install a FTP client or FTP server. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to upload files to the BeagleBone. So pretty important. So what we need to do here is we need to enter sudo apt-get install vsftpd. And it'll ask us for a password, which is temp pwd. And we'll just wait for this thing to install that FTP server. Okay, so after the FTP server is installed here, you'll notice mine went kind of fast. We're just time-lapsing here. We're going to need to do some configuration changes. Also, another thing I guess important to note, your BeagleBone will need to be connected to a network with internet access in order for it to download all this stuff. Pretty much once we're done with this installation, you can put it on a network that doesn't have internet access, but for initial configuration here, you got to have it. So what we need to do now is we need to make some configuration changes to that FTP server. And this is a little bit different doing it through the terminal, but it's really not bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter sudo pico /etc /vs ftpd.conf. And you'll see it comes up with all this stuff. So what we need to do is we need to just use our arrow key on the keyboard and scroll down until we see write enable yes. And you'll see there's a little pound symbol in front of this, which means this line is not enabled. So we'll uncomment that by just pressing backspace to delete that pound character. And then we'll click, we'll hit Control plus X. And it'll ask us if we want to save. We'll say yes by just holding Shift and hitting Y. It's going to ask us what we want to name the file. We don't want to change it. We just want to press Enter. Okay, so now the configuration change has been made to the FTP server, so we can actually upload things to it. Now, in order for that configuration to take effect, we need to restart that FTP server. So we're going to enter sudo service vsftpd restart. And you'll see it said stopped waiting, and then it said started running, and then it'll name the process, the thread process. So now our FTP on the BeagleBone is set up and ready to go. One other thing we need to do now is we need to create a directory to upload our EJRE. So what we'll do now is we're going to change directories to the lib folder or the user folder. So we'll just enter cd/usr, and then you can hit ls here to view everything in this folder. And you'll see those items in blue there are all directories. So what we need to do is we need to create a new directory. So we're going to enter sudo mkdir. We're going to call this directory Java. And now if we hit ls again, you'll see we have a new directory there named Java. And if we go into that, change directory Java, we hit ls, you'll see that there's nothing in it. So we'll hit change directory ... to go up a directory and hit ls, and we can see that it's there. Now I recommend opening up permissions on that Java folder. If you type in ls-l, you'll see all the permissions on all the directories, and you'll see for that Java folder it has some closed permissions. It looks like it's 753 or something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say sudo chmod 777 java, and now we'll type in ls-l, and you'll see its permissions now are wide open. So now that that's done, we'll actually upload our EJRE file to that folder, and then we'll unzip it, and we'll basically have Java installed. So we can go ahead and minimize your terminal window. And now what we need to do is we need to download the EJRE file. So if you just go to your browser and Google EJRE download, I believe we'll go to the org side here, the Oracle site. That's just oracle.com Java SE embedded downloads. Should be the first link that comes up. So we'll click on that. And if we scroll down here, we're going to see a big list of all the downloads. What we're looking for, you'll see up here, these are eJDKs. We don't want the Java development kit. We don't need that on the BeagleBone. You'll need that on the computer you're developing the applications on. But for the BeagleBone, we just need the runtime environment. So we're going to scroll down to the next section. And here you're going to see all these EJREs, and this is what we're looking for. And we're looking under the ARM Linux section here, because the processor on the BeagleBone is an ARM Linux processor. So what we're looking for is we're looking for a client compiler BFP. We want the hard float right here, very important. If you try to install the soft float, you will bang your head against the wall for a long time like I did. So you're going to want to go with the hard float client This right here is pretty much exactly what we're looking for. We want the headless version. So you'll click to download that. I've already got it downloaded, so I'm not going to click to download it again. That will it's only 31 megabytes, but I've already got it. So just click here to download it, and then you'll have the file ready to go. Okay, so now we've got the EJRE installation file. Now we need to actually FTP that file to the BeagleBone. So to do that, we're going to need to have an FTP client installed on the computer. You'll see down here I have this FileZilla is what I use. You can use any FTP client you want. In this example, I'm going to show you using FileZilla. If you just Google FileZilla, you'll see the download here for it, which it's a free FTP and it's the best one I've used. So it's what I would recommend using. If you don't have one installed, just click the link and they'll have a download here. They've got it for all platforms or Windows only. So just install the package that you need. And now we'll go ahead and use FileZilla to upload that file to the BeagleBone. So we're going to launch FileZilla on our computer. For host, we need to put in the IP address of the BeagleBone. Mine happened to be 192.168.2.24. For username, we'll enter Ubuntu. For password, we're going to enter temp pwd. You don't need to enter anything here for port, and just click quick connect. And then I'm going to go to the root directory, or this little / over here, and I'm going to scroll down to the user folder. And you'll see we have our Java folder here, so we'll open that. And then over here on your computer, you need to find that EJRE file. So it should be in your downloads. Okay, so once you've actually located the file here, you can click here to sort it by date, so it comes up as the last one modified, so it should be the file you just downloaded. We'll just click that, click and hold, and drag it over here into this Java directory. And it'll take it a few seconds to upload. Okay, so once that's uploaded to the device, we're actually now ready to SSH back into the BeagleBone and actually install that EJRE. So we'll type in tar, T-A-R, XZF, start typing the name EJRE, hit the tab key on your keyboard to complete the name of the folder or the file, and then hit enter. Now you'll see it looks like it just locked up here, but just wait just a second and you should see it come up there where you can type again. Now if we do ls again to see everything in this Java directory, we'll see that we now have an EJRE 1.7.0_55. So that's what we were looking for. That means that we actually have the Java runtime environment installed on the BeagleBone. It's important to note the name and directory of your EJRE file here. So actually if we do cd EJRE 1.7 and then hit tab to go to that directory and hit ls, you'll see there's a bin folder there. So if we change directory to bin here and hit ls again, you'll actually see Java listed in there. So that's what we have to specify as the this bin folder is the directory of the Java runtime environment. So up here, if you'll note this EJRE 1.7.0_55, yours may be different if there's a later version out. Since I've made this video, you'll want to just make sure and note this file, and if you go into that file, you should have a bin directory which contains a Java application. So just remember, we're going to need that. So it's /user/java /EJRE 1.7.0_55 /bin, or it's all listed out right here. Okay, So what we will do now is make sure and take note of that, as I'm going to do right now. Okay, now in the command line we're going to enter sudo pico /etc/environment, or you just start typing environment and hit tab and it should complete for you. And then we're going to scroll all the way over here to the end, and you'll see that all these environment variables are separated by a colon, like this colon right here. That means that this is a new variable over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here just inside the quote, or highlight the quote, and we're going to start typing. We'll enter colon /user /java /EJRE 1.7.0_55 /bin. Okay, and then another / at the end just for good measure. And then we're going to hit return. So now you can see that you can see it listed up here as our new environment variable we added. Now we need to add another environment variable down here. We need to enter one called Java all caps __ home. Okay, and then equals open quotes /user /java EJRE 1.7.0_55 /bin close quotes. Okay, so basically the same thing we entered above. Okay, and now we're going to hit Control+X to exit. It'll ask us if we want to save our changes. We hold Shift and press Y. It's going to ask for the name, and just press Enter on your keyboard. And that's essentially all there is to that. So now what we need to do is we need to reboot the BeagleBone. So we're going to enter sudo reboot. And it'll see it's going down for reboot now, and it's going to terminate our SSH connection. So we'll just close this terminal window and wait a few seconds, and then we'll hit shell, new remote connection, select it, enter Ubuntu, and you need to wait a few seconds, probably about 15 to 30 seconds, depending on how long it takes the device to come back up on your network. Click connect again. And here it comes. So now we'll enter the password, which is temp pwd. Okay, and now at this point we should actually be able to test the Java EJRE to make sure it's working. All you need to do is in your terminal here, type in java-version and hit enter. And you'll see, if you see this, that means you have Java installed on the BeagleBone. So that's what we were looking to do. So you should see it list the version there, which mine says build 1.7.0_55-B13 headless. So if you get this, you're good to go, and we're ready to move on. So the next step is, I guess from here we can actually start talking about I2C a little bit and actually do some testing there. It's important to note that an I2C port is mounted to the BeagleBone kind of like a USB port. So if we enter cd/dev to go to our dev directory, and then we type in ls, you'll see all the devices listed. These are going to be all the USB ports and everything else. If you look through here, you're going to see I2C-0 and I2C-1. If you're using the cape that NCD provides, that I2C port actually mounts as I2C-1. So that's important to note. Now, also, if we enter ls-l to see what permissions all these files have, and you scroll up to the I2C port, I2C-1 here, you'll see that you're not going to have access to execute that under any permissions. So what we could do is we could just set the the permissions here through the command line. Problem is, as soon as your BeagleBone reboots, those permissions are going to reset to what's listed here, so it's kind of pointless. So we need to make a global change to that. So what you want to do is go up here and note the name of this, which is I2C-1. And now we're going to go to our etc directory. So we're going to say change directory /etc. We'll hit ls, and under this directory you're looking for something called rc local, and yeah, rc.local right here. So what we want to do is we want to say sudo pico rc.local, and it's going to ask for a password. Okay, now basically this is a place where you can enter some commands to run before the BeagleBone boots up. So just go down right here above this exit and give yourself some room, and we're going to enter chmod 777 I2C dash well, we need to put in the full directory, which is /dev /I2C-1, and then basically that will set permissions of that I2C port on boot up, so we don't ever have to worry about it again. Anything else that you need to do as far as changing permissions, or just anything you would do from the CLI you want to happen on boot up, you can enter here in this rc.local. So we'll go ahead and hit Control X to exit. It's going to save our changes, so we'll say Shift Y, and then we'll press enter for the file name, which we do not want to change. And now we'll do a sudo reboot, and the device will go down and it will boot up, and the next time it boots up it should have permissions on that I2C port set the way we want them. So we'll close our SSH terminal again, and we'll wait a few seconds, and then we'll connect again. So after a few seconds have passed, we'll select the device and we'll connect to it again and enter our password. Oh, enter it correctly. Temp pwd. Okay, and then we'll check permissions on that I2C port. So we'll say cd /dev, and then we'll type in ls-l, and it's going to list the permissions of all the directories here. And we'll scroll up to that I2C port. If I can find it here, yep, I2C1, and you'll see its permissions are all wide open. So that's exactly what we're looking for. So at this point, we're actually ready to start testing some I2C commands. So we'll cover that in the next section.